the close call. The asteroid was only spotted 2 days ago and at its closest point passed over the Pacific Ocean near Tahiti. In astronomical terms, it was a close call indeed. According to Rob McNaught of the Spring Observatory near Coonabarabran in Australia, no object of that size or larger has ever been observed to come closer to the Earth. McNaught said that yesterday's asteroid was probably smaller than the Siberian one, but it could still do a lot of damage to a city. If it had crashed into the ocean, he said, I imagine it would produce a tsunami. McNaught spotted the object on Friday night. Within 24 hours, astronomers had calculated it would narrowly miss the planet. Scientist McNaught said that if the asteroid had indeed been on a collision course with a populated part of the planet, there would have been time to act. He said a lot of people falsely claim there is nothing you can do, but there is. If there is an asteroid coming and you have 24 hours, you can evacuate. While a collision with a 1 kilometer wide asteroid would cause global devastation, McNaught said that this one, just 300 meters wide, could throw the world into a short-term winter. Well, that's definitely dodging a bullet there, I would say. We didn't cover these attacks the other day, but there was obviously a terror attack in Lahore on the Sri Lankan cricket team. And now this is gurgling its way through into the insurance market. The terror attacks on the Sri Lankan cricketers will make cricket insurance more expensive in the Indian subcontinent. Risk perception for the entire subcontinent, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, has taken a turn for the worse in recent weeks. An immediate impact is that cricket franchise owners who were looking at cutting insurance coverage to cut costs will now have to spend more on insurance. Franchisees have a stake in individual players, and they can't get back the money they paid for players if they get benched after an injury. Many of these franchises have been checking with their insurers about whether they have adequate cover. In the case of the Sri Lankan team, the one that was attacked, they buy travel and personal accident cover for their players. According to Bhupesh Kumar, who heads Aon Global Insurance Broker Sports and Entertainment Business, people are more concerned. They're looking at whether franchisees have adequate cover under their present policies. You bet they're more concerned. Some news from Paris. The French reinsurance giant SCOR has recorded net income in 2008 despite recording 260 million euros of write-downs. Dennis Kessler made some announcements. He said that SCOR recorded net income of 315 million euros in 2008. It was down about 23% from the 407 million euros in 2007, but it was still a profit. Kessler said that SCOR demonstrated its strong franchise value in 2008 with solid results, despite the advent of the first genuine global financial crisis. Kessler also said that SCOR will look to continue to slash costs. They're going to try to whack off another 71 million euros, or 18% in costs, although the company did not mention if this will result in any job losses. About an hour and 10 minutes ago up in Connecticut, Christopher Garand supposedly was starting his sentencing hearing. Let me just double check to see if we have any update on this. I've been watching this because I'm thinking maybe we'll get updated during the show. Not yet. Nope. Chris Garand, of course, is a former senior VP at Gen Re. He's going to be sentenced within minutes for an accounting fraud scandal that the government says cost shareholders of AIG more than $500 million. He was one of 5 executives convicted in the case. He faces up to 160 years in jail and a fine of up to $29.5 million. Federal prosecutors say the scheme involved AIG paying Gen Re in a secret deal to take out reinsurance policies with AIG in 2001. They say the scheme propped up AIG stock prices and inflated reserves by $500 million. Garand was a senior Gen Re VP at the time. It's a little bit of information that you maybe never knew. The Panama Canal Authority will collect $2 billion in total revenues in the fiscal year 2009. This is about the same amount that it collected last year, but these are higher toll prices that will offset the lower number of ships passing through. The ships crossing the canal will carry a total of 303 million tons. According to the Panama Canal Authority, tonnage will fall by about 5% as a result of the decline in the global economy. The canal is currently carrying out a $5.25 billion expansion plan to double the traffic capacity and allow wider and longer ships to move between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. That's quite a revenue stream there. And finally, this is really, I had to read this twice. This is a classic case of making lemon out of lemonade, but it's also a grisly situation. We'll look at this map. You might remember this map from last year. This is the great 7.8 earthquake in Sichuan, China last year. It killed some 80,000 people. Well, get this. Some of the ruins seen here left by last year's massive earthquake in southwest China, including a collapsed school, will open as tourist sites later this month. This is according to Xinhua, the Chinese news agency. Tour groups will be able to go boating on a so-called Quake Lake and visit a museum featuring an earthquake simulation. This is according to the China Daily. Local government spokesman Chen Wen said the one-day tour will include a visit to the Baichuan High School, where students were buried in the rubble of collapsed buildings. Mr. Chen said local officials created a tour in response to demand from ghouls wanting to see tragic sites linked to the magnitude 8 quake that struck in May. More than 200,000 people visited the area during the Lunar New Year holiday. About 1 out of 10 of Sichuan County's 300,000 people died in the earthquake. The Chinese government will spend about $130 million US to turn the ruins and surrounding areas into tourism sites. Tourists will be able to go boating and relax drinking tea on the shores of the Tangashan quake-created lake, a new body of water created by flooding and landslides triggered by the earthquake. The earthquake was China's worst natural disaster in a generation. It left 87,000 people dead or missing. I have no comment. We'll keep our eyes on the news. If anything breaks, we'll come back and tell you. If not, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.